Hello and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's review for Dreamcatcher, which is Star Trek Prodigy Season 1, Episode 4. I'll have to start with a spoiler warning for this episode. If you haven't seen it, it'll be spoiled for you. So my review for this episode is... Alright, so... I feel like I've seen this episode before, because I have. I've seen it like 5 or 6 or 7 or dozens of times before, because this is, alright, this is just doing what Star Trek has done dozens of times before. Now, if that is what Prodigy is going to be, which I had high hopes after the pilot episode, or the premiere, or whatever you want to call it, but after this episode and last week's episode, I'm starting to think maybe Prodigy is just going to be a show for kids that repeats every single cliche Star Trek has ever done before, but because it's aimed at kids, it's new to them, and it's delivering these typical Star Trek cliches that's been done a billion times before, but delivering it to kids, so making it kid-friendly. And so it'll be new to them, so they won't be bothered by the fact that this had been done dozens of times before. Now, I had been sold on the fact that this is a Star Trek show that fans of all ages can enjoy, no matter how young or how old. Which, if my suspicions are correct, that's not the case, because those older... I'm so old. But those older Star Trek fans who have seen all the other Star Trek shows could not enjoy just seeing the same plots recycled and rehashed over and over again. Which, so far, I think this episode's even worse. This episode reminds me a lot of Strange New Worlds, which was the 3rd episode of Enterprise and one of the worst episodes of Enterprise, because that already was rehashing and recycling tons of episodes that was done before. It reminds me of this episode, I can't remember what this is called. It had like a Latin title or something from Discovery. All their titles in Discovery are really pretentious, but I think it was the mid-season finale of season 1, so it was like when they had a little break or whatever. Something with Saru on a planet going crazy, but the planet's actually alive. There's touches of where no one has gone before, because it's an entity that could give you what they want. There's touches of shore leave. There's touches of... any number of episodes where they land on a weird planet and there's a weird force that's like trying to fool them or trick them or eat them or whatever. This has been so done, so overdone, that I had like zero interest in this. Oh, this is an evil plant thing that's fooling the crew and making them give them what they want. It's like no, I haven't seen that a billion times already. Now, again, if this is what Prodigy is going to be, if it's just going to be a show for kids, giving them all the recycled track plots because it's new to the kids, because they're being introduced to Star Trek, then that's fine. I can accept it for what it is. I'll think it is an average show at best. Maybe still probably better than Discovery, because Discovery is so damn flawed. At least Prodigy so far isn't flawed, it's just bland. But if that's what the show wants to be, just, hey kiddies, here's Star Trek and here's all the cliches in Star Trek you've never seen before, but here we are delivering it to you in a kid-friendly form. That's fine. You can do that, and I'll just think the show is okay. I'll give it a 5 or 6 down the middle. It's passable, whatever. But I was, especially after that pilot episode, I was hoping and expecting more from Prodigy than simply that. Now, it's only been 2 episodes, 2 out of 3, or 4 if you want to count the first episode as 2, so you could even say it's only half the episode so far. that give this impression. So maybe I'm jumping the gun. Maybe the rest of Discovery is going to be a bit more original and more interesting, and have more for the older fans. But after these past two episodes, I'm not that. I don't have high hopes for that. I'm not expecting that. And maybe, if your expectations are low, then it's easier to be impressed. So maybe that's a good place to be. But we'll see. Now, as I said, this episode's not terrible. It's just bland. Now, I was hoping that the characters themselves, which I do like the characters of the show, and I do think they're fleshed out, I was hoping that they would elevate the bland cliche format that we've seen a billion times before. They would elevate it to make it a bit more interesting, and they do a little bit. I do appreciate. I really need to learn their names. I think his name is Dull, the head lead character guy. I appreciate the scene where where the planet thingy was showing him his parents, but he didn't know what his parents looked like, but they were what he wanted to see most. And when Janeway was at the planet thing, he took the form of Janeway and it was started freaking approaching him and being all creepy. That was scary. That was a cool scene. I did appreciate that. And this stuff with Zero being in a maze and seeing the engine of the ship, I wonder, maybe that has implications going forward, which I hope so. That would be interesting. But the thing with Jenko Pod having that just is so cliche. Oh, there's a pot of food and I'm eating my food. Ooh, 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 ooh. And now I'm blanking on her name. The rock creature, whatever her name is. Her having all these funny furry buzzy bunnies jumping all over is it's whatever, if that's fine, I guess. I don't know. But what I really, on top of that, so it was passable, there were some good moments, but I really did not like the stuff with Gwen, particularly how easily she took over the ship. The Janeway, the fact, okay, it was kind of interesting that she could telepathically summon her sword to break her out. It kind of frustrates me that they didn't have any safeguards, that she keeps breaking out of the brig so easily. Why even put her in there? And here's something that really pissed me off though. It's as soon as the sword broke open the force field, she just snapped off her restraints. How? I mean, you could say she used her sword to snap it off, but it seemed like it would be magnetically sealed or have some technology to seal it in, rather than simply a sword cutting it free. And they even show the sword cutting it free. They just showed her going how the fuck did she do that? That pissed me off. But more than that, when she went to the bridge and Jane was I'm locking you all those systems, she's oh yeah, I'm gonna override. How'd she do that? I was oh, my dad told me how to use the ship. Really? So, just because her dad told her how to use a particular ship, wasn't that one, because she had never seen that ship before, she was able to easily override security lockouts? That pissed me off. It happened way too easy, and it's clearly happened just because the plot wanted it to happen. And then the way she easily reprogram. Oh yeah, I'm gonna easily reprogram Janeway. It's how does she know to do this? I don't buy it. It's a bunch of horse junkie. I'm trying to watch my language a little bit for this kid's review, but still, it's BS. Anyway. So, that really upset me. And then how easily she broke out. And I know they were doing it to create tension. So, I'm going to take the ship back. And it was interesting. Again, we get interesting character beats when she saw an image of her father, and her father was being so nice to her, and that's when she realized it wasn't her father, because her father would never be this nice to her. That was interesting character bits, and I do hope it leads somewhere. I hope it leads to her, because I know they're building up to making her part of the crew, and turning on her father, and I hope we get there. And maybe I hope this is building towards that, so I'll be able to somewhat forgive it for that. But yeah, the ease in which she took over the Protostar really bothered me. It was interesting though that she chose to save Murph. Is that its name, Murph? I don't know. Anyway, it is interesting that she chose to save Murph from the ship. Obviously, it's not destroyed, because then there wouldn't be a show. So most likely it's the planet like giving an illusion it's destroyed or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. So it was okay. Like, it's fine. So my rating for Dreamcatcher out of 10 is a 6. Good. You know, fine, whatever. Let's just throw all the normal cliche Star Trek cliches into one episode. Give you a little bit of interesting character development, but give you some bland character development, and have the villain easily win, which doesn't make any sense, and then create some tension that works. So there's some good and bad, and so overall it's it's fine. Maybe I'm generous by giving it a 6. Maybe I should actually give it a 5, but whatever. I'm feeling generous today. Anyway, I hope that Prodigy gets better. I hope that it's not just going to be recycled plots from here on out, but we'll see. Anyway, that is it for my review of episode 4 of Star Trek Prodigy. Be sure to check out my channel as I continue to cover Prodigy, as well as other shows, many other Star Trek videos, and other shows like The Expanse, Star Wars, The Clone Wars, and more. So be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that, and thanks a lot for watching.